2, 1. Alrighty, folks. Hello and welcome. A little bit of a different stream here. Special circumstances. My computer kind of got hosed with the latest Windows update. So what I'm going to do, among other things, what that means is that all of my OBS settings that I had set up for the stream were lost. So what I wanted to do, since I have to set it all up anyway, is make a tutorial video for those of you who are interested in getting started in streaming, or setting up your stream, or maybe having some trouble with getting things set up exactly right. So I'm going to walk you through what I use for my channel as I get everything set back up. Now, the only thing that I've done so far is I have added a display capture to OBS. So if I move these windows off the screen, I keep a display capture in the background. This is just my main desktop, and this will be where the results and things like that are. I just like to keep that as a background so that there isn't anything completely dead. It's probably not the most optimized thing to do, but that's what I do. Display captures are not great. They're a little bit slow. So actually I may want to reconsider having that as part of my stream, but for right now we've got the display capture on. So the other thing that I have set up, which is allowing it to be which is allowing you to actually see the stream, is that I've already gone into File, Settings, Stream, and I've added my stream key here for Twitch. The other thing that I changed as well is setting my microphone auxiliary device to my Logitech G35 headset. That's what I use when I'm racing. So you see that. Video output's currently active, but it automatically sets your output scaled resolution to 1280 by 720, which is 720p. I tried doing 1080p one time and was dropping frames like crazy. I might try it again with the desktop capture display turned off to see if that's improved things, because I may have been doubling some things. But with those things set, the one thing that I am going to walk you through is, once again, just how to find the stream key. So I'm going to pull Firefox into view here. I use Firefox because I like to support open source, and because, you know, it's also relatively lightweight. So if you go to Dashboard, Channel Settings, and then on Dashboard, Settings, Channel, and then scroll down, you click Stream Key, and then you click Show Key. I'm not actually going to do this because I don't want to broadcast my stream key live, but you click that, copy and paste that into OBS right here in the stream key field, and that gets it set up correctly. So I'm going to cancel out of that because we didn't change anything, and we don't want to change anything because those are set. Now, the next brief piece that I'm going to cover here, because it's going to matter because I'm going to be talking through the rest of this video, is adjusting your audio settings. What I've found is that you want desktop audio to be at about 50% of the mic, and the other thing is that you don't want your mic to be so loud that it clips when you get excited or something like that. So you can see this little bar right here helps you out. Right now, as I'm talking, I'm kind of in the green, and it's jumping up to the yellow range, which is fine. What you never want is for it to go into the red. And you can see that if I increase my volume, it bumps up into the red. And that probably also doesn't sound super great on your guys' end. So what I'm going to do is actually drop my mic volume down, well down, so that even when my voice gets nice and loud, I get super excited because we just won the Daytona 500! It's staying in the yellow. So I might even want to drop that down a little bit more. If I drop it all the way down to here, now I don't want to drop it down super low, but if I drop it down to right about in here, what I want is that when I talk at my normal volume, I kind of want it to be staying in the green range, and that if I get excited, it goes up into the yellow, that's fine, but I'm not going to get nasty sounding clicks and pops and things like that from my normal talking volume. Then I'm going to take, because iRacing is a particularly loud game, and you're going to want to play with these settings a couple times and get things set so that they are correct for your stream. But I'm going to go ahead and set my desktop audio to roughly half is what I've found is pretty good. So set that to about 50% of what you have your mic set. Works for me, but again, that's also because for iRacing. So now the next thing that I want to get set up so that you guys can see me is I need to add my webcam so that we can have that. Webcam is a great thing to have on your stream. I highly recommend streaming with a webcam. I know that some people stream without a webcam, but, and I'll emphasize this point a few times, people are coming to your stream most likely to see you and less likely to see super high level gameplay unless you are like super top 10th of 1% in the game that you're streaming and you're featuring really elite gameplay. They might watch to study that. More often than not, the vast majority of streamers, they're coming to see the person rather than coming to see the gameplay itself. They, so because you are a huge part of the draw for your channel, you're going to want to featuring yourself on your channel is a really good idea. So with that in mind, I'm going to this is OBS Studio, so I just got the latest version of OBS Studio installed. I'm going to click under Sources, click the plus symbol to add a source. Add a video capture device, and you can just call that video capture device, or I can call that my webcam face. So that's actually useful because you'll see some streamers, particularly with iRacing, using multiple webcams. So one that's really popular is that they'll have a camera on their face and then they'll also have a camera on their feet to show the pedals as they're using the gas and the brake and things like that. That's a big one. So labeling your sources correctly will help you out immensely later on. So there we go. That is my Logitech webcam. All of these I can pretty much use as default. So I'm looking at it and I'm seeing you might want to, shift it a little bit one way or the other. Center it up right there. That looks pretty good. So I've got me in frame. I've got the wheel in frame. That's got everything that I'm going to want. It's nicely centered. Click OK. And then I have this. Now the webcam, I want to point out this with the hierarchy. Sources are going to be ordered in terms of which one, the one at the top is the one that's highest on level. Think of them like a stack of pancakes or pages or whatever. Whatever's on top is going to cover up what's underneath it. So if I drop the webcam down below the display capture, you see that it has gone away. I move it back up. And one of the things that I really like about OBS is that you can go in here and you can play with settings usually, but this also lets you just drag it around. I like to have my webcam right here in the bottom right corner of the screen, and I like to have myself kind of shrunk down a little bit like that. Let's see if I want to angle it just a little bit so that I'm less there, so that there's a little less free space in the top. But that's kind of how you want to do it. So I've got myself sized so that I'm right back down in the lower left-hand corner of the screen where I like to be. This is my little home. It's my safe space. I feel comfortable here. Anyway, moving on. We're already making good progress in terms of getting things set back up the way that we like to have them. The next thing that I need, because this is an iRacing stream and I really only stream iRacing, I need to add a capture source for the game that I stream. So I go to sources, add game capture, and this is going to be iRacing. Okay. There we go. Capture full screen application. Capture cursor. Use anti-cheat compatibility hook. Very, very important to use that because iRacing has anti-cheat software. You got to have that in. You can capture third-party overlays like Steam and things like that if you want to. All of these I just leave as default. So click OK, and that's going to slot right in there. Next, go to, so let's see. So the next pieces that I like to add, I'm going to do this in order so that there are some things that are specific to iRacing that I'm going to add on later that will be less relevant to people who are streaming general games. So I'm going to add on a couple things that I like to have in my stream for general stuff, and then we'll come back around and add the iRacing specific things at the end. So Google is your friend, and what I like to do, or what I had set up for follows and subscriber alerts and things like that was I think I had some night dev hooks set up, but now I can pretty much go, since I'm setting things up new, I actually am going to do all of this through Streamlabs. So we're going to go to streamlabs.com. I'm going to take this off screen for a second while I log in. Or actually, I don't even think I need to do that because I'm already logged into Twitch. Just click login with the Twitch button, and I'll be logged into Streamlabs. And here you go. You can see, the whole Streamlabs overlay. Streamlabs is a super useful application. Very useful for all streamers. I totally recommend getting it. Now, I didn't do the Streamlabs version of OBS. I have not tried it. I may try it out in the future and do a little preview of what's going on with that. But for right now, we're not going to use that. What I am going to do, though, is go through setting up some different things. So what you're going to want is it's all going to be in the widgets. So these are largely already set up. But if you go to the first one, which is the alert box, this stuff's all super important. Follows, subscriptions, donations, hosts, bits, raids, redemptions. You want all that stuff set up. Now I had follows disabled. I'm going to go ahead and enable follows. Let's see. I kind of like my follows and subscribes to slide in and catch my eye over on the left-hand side of the screen. And there's a lot of different features so that you can do. So what I am going to do right now is just set this up so that we have a, I like to have it do a slide in left and then a slide out left. Text animation, wiggle, that's fine. Change the media. So you've got a bunch of different stock images and things like that can go for these. So you want to pick something that's fun and kind of resonates your channel. And if you don't see something in here, you can go get, so, you know, like we're doing a NASCAR channel, so I can do drafting Daytona GIF. And let's see. That looks pretty cool. So, you know, for when someone follows, having the drafting at Daytona play looks like a good one. So I'm going to copy, I think I want the URL. Let's see if that works, or let's pull it up and see if I can get just the, I want the GIF version of this. So,
when you brew a beer
oh
with
goodness
this much
me.
taste, 96 calories.
I hate audio ads and play like that so much. So, I think I can save this as actually. Stenhouse Dega.gif. I think that'll work. Let's see if that actually worked. Stock files. Let me see. So this is kind of playing with stuff. I don't know if this is actually going to work, but let's see if it does. I can just drag that in there. Come on. This is going a little bit longer than I wanted to already. Download Stenhouse Dega, open. Come on. That's not working. Oh, there it is. Cool. So, boom. Select that. And so that will be the default image that plays now when someone follows. And we'll have it go with that image next to the text so that when it slides in, or maybe we'll do it like that. Anyway, and then we need a sound for that. So let's see what their sounds are. There's that. Let's see. Not that one. That's pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't love that so much. I think I like that one for subscription. So maybe the success chime for that. Or actually, what I had in the past was that the follows wouldn't actually be as pronounced. So the follows would be silent, and the subscribes would be. What am I trying to say? That the subscription would come in with a sound, but the follow would not. So we've enabled follows. I'm going to do So for a subscription, let's see if we can get a Victory Lane Champagne GIF. And actually, let's see if we can do, because Rusty Wallace Victory Lane GIF. That ain't gonna work. Oh, there we go. We could do a Carl Edwards backflip GIF. That would work. So we're going to do the same thing. Go there. Now, I will give a little caveat that I might not have the... doing it this way might not be the safest, but I think that I'm in decent shape. So save image as Edwards backflip .gif. Save it. Boom. Okay, so then we go back to Streamlabs, and we're going to do similar image with the text overlay. Change this. Boom. Come on. Here we go. There we go. That's in there. So we're going to select that. And then I'm going to go to that sound file that I liked. Now you can upload additional images, audio files. You need to make sure that the sound files that you use are in .ogg format, which is fairly easy to convert. I'm not going to do a tutorial on that right now, but I might do one of those in the future because I might want to change the sounds for both of those sources in the future. So save those settings. We've got follows with the Stenhouse leading the draft. We've got Carl Edwards doing the backflip for a subscription, and we're in good shape. Donations, hosts, bits, raids, all of those are doing the same thing that we were doing before. Bits, we actually want to, let's change the media on that to, that one's kind of fun. So there, I think that overrides, but if, with whatever the icon is, and we've got the text to speech for that, I highly recommend doing that. Donations, you want to have something cool set up for that as well. So for right now, I'm just going to pick something else. I might go back through and add another, Carl Edwards backflip or Rusty Wallace celebrating or something like that. But I don't really like that zombie. Let's do Starfox or Tails. That's pretty cool. Have fun with it. That's one of the biggest things, is that you want to make sure that you're having fun with your stream. The other thing I want to do with subscriptions is, rather than fade in, fade out, I want to do this slide in left and slide out left. Save the settings. Always remember to save settings. So now that I've got all of this configured, I can just copy the URL. I'm not going to show it because I don't want to show that on stream, but you don't need to, because where this is going is add in a browser source, make it visible, and then I'm going to do this off stream, but what you're going to do is I copied the URL, and you're going to paste that URL into this area. Boom. And then, so I'm going to undo that real quick. The other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that it's got the same size as your screen. So 1920, 1080, FPS at 30, that's fine. So you want to set that, and then I need to go into the browser source and add in the URL. Okay. And now, what's cool is that I think that they will let you do some testing. So if I test my follow, you can see it. And oh my goodness, that's way too big. That takes up the whole screen. We don't like that. Why did it do that? Follows. Alert animation. I wanted you to slide in from the left and slide out left. Okay. And because I have it doing the full screen, let's change that. So, oops, there we go. That's what I said not to do. So, but actually, this is fine. I'll just change the URL in a second. I'm pretty sure that I can do that. Cool. Well, widget URL contains sensitive information, so hopefully you guys don't, anyway. Let me see. Is there a way to reset that URL? Anyway. So I'm going to get rid of that for a second. Not on screen for too long. But I'm going to go back in and we're going to adjust this. So let's make it the width. Let's do like 900 and the height 300. URL, I'm going to go paste that back in. Okay. That gives us a box that's about yay big. And I can plop that down right on top of my head. Now, again, let me continue making the same mistake. I'm going to go back. Okay. And again, I want to trim that down a little bit. So 900 by 300 is the right ratio that I want, but still a little bit too big. So let's do it at 600 by 200. Okay. Boom. And let's drag it right down there. Now, let's see if we can test this again. So test the follow alert. And you can see there it's popped in and it fades out. Now, why is it still doing that? I don't want you to fade in. I want you to slide in left and slide in right. Did I not save my settings? Okay. I'm going to resize this a little bit so that I can see the alert come in. So we are going to test the follow one more time. There we go. Slides in left and slides out. Let's test the subscription. Slides in left and it'll slide out. Now, you can play around. So we did the text like this. Let's just see real quick what the follow looks like if it's like that. Test that. That looks like garbage. So let's try one more, which is laid out like that. Save it. And test the follow. That's too small. It's not showing me any image at all. So what I think we want to do with this is keep it the way that we had it set. So, or I can make the alert box bigger. But I think that doing it like that made the most sense. So we're going to save the settings there. And we're actually going to need to do that for everything else. So donations are going to have to go like that. Hosts are going to have to go with that one because of the way that we've set the alert box there. Everything's going to have to go in the same thing. And part of the reason that I'm setting it there is that I want it down off the main screen. As cool as it is to get raids and hosts and bits and donations and all of that, that's awesome for me as the streamer, and I like to be able to be alerted to that and give credit to the people who are donating to my stream. But I also don't want it to interrupt the gameplay that is going on. For racing in particular, that center space of the screen is pretty important, and I don't want a big alert box coming in during a critical event and covering up the action. So we've saved the settings, and real quick we'll just run through, test the donation. There we go.
This is a test donation for $1.
Cool. Test hosting. There it is. Test the bits.
This is
And test raids. So there we go. That's actually good that we did that because some of that information's getting cut off. I can adjust that by changing the font settings. Drop it down to 52px and save. And let's try that again. Test the raid. Still a little bit too big. Drop it down to 40px. We'll try that, and we might actually try that with all of those, just to get that text a little bit more readable. There we go. So let's go test bits again. Let's do bits.
This is a test bit alert.
Font size, let's go to 40px, save settings. Test that again. Boom. Nice and readable.
This is a test bit alert.
Hosting 40, save, and test. There we go. So things are starting to look correct. I'm just going to go through again because we are setting this up for real. 40px, save settings, subscriptions, 40, save. With follows and subscriptions, all of these, it's really important that it's big enough that you as the streamer are able to read it. So let's see, I think we did the donation. There we go. That looks pretty good.
This is a test donation for $1.
Test subscription. Now it looks nice when that follows through, and there's the test follow. So cool. We've got all that stuff set up. We're going to leave it alone. I might change some of the sounds later, but I do want to start moving through some of the other things. So the one other thing that I need to do is rename that browser source. I'm just going to slide it off. Actually, I think I might be able to do this on here. So right click, rename. This is good because I showed the one way where you're creating. Now I'm going to show the other way where I don't do that. So I'm going to rename the browser source to Streamlabs Alerts. Really important to have those names so that you keep things organized. Now the next piece that I want to talk about that's super important, because it's really important to interact with your chat and viewers while you are streaming. I have been being a bad streamer through this whole time because I don't have my chat up so that I can monitor it. So any chat that's been going on, I have not been able to see. So how do you get your chat monitor set up? This is what I do. and I highly recommend doing this. Your chat is in your channel, but for a number of reasons, you might not want to have your entire stream up, playing, sucking up bandwidth, sucking up resources on your computer while you have your stream up and running. So if you go into theater mode, you can hit the settings gear and click pop out right here. That will pop your chat out into an independent window. Favorite this, bookmark this page, save it in just your save it in a, I'm going to make it into a new folder. Pull it, come on, I don't want it in other bookmarks. Actually, I'm going to put it right in the bookmarks toolbar and name it Twitch Chat. Done. Okay, so now when I start up my stream, I right click on Firefox, open a new window, and I click Twitch Chat, and there we go. I've got it. Boom. Now, something else that you're going to want to do with this is you're going to want to make it really big because you need to be able to read it. So if I plop in a test message here into my chat, that's going to be super tiny to read while I'm trying to race. If I'm in the middle of the pack at 200 miles per hour at Talladega, there's no way I'm reading that. Especially if it's something like, hey, John, your stream is so cool. I want to be just like you one day. Who knows? Sometimes people write really nice stuff. Sometimes people write mean stuff. The point is that it's important to be able to read chat while you're watching. So hit the control key and plus, and you can make this really big. I like to put it about like that. So the chat's pretty big, maybe one, no, that's the one. So it's zoomed at like 240%, which means that you only get a couple of lines, so you'll have to scroll up. But in the moment when people say things, they're going to do it. And what I do then is I'm going to actually move the webcam for a second so that you guys can see this. But I've got my setup set like this. Here's my wheel. That's my Fanatec wheel. And there's my game monitor. And then over here, this is where I monitor chat and stream, is on this second monitor. It's not as good as my main game monitor, nor is it as big, but it does the trick. It's actually a really old monitor from, I think, what was it? 08, I think, is when I got that computer. 2007. So right after I graduated college, I got a new computer, and it's still useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys on the main monitor how I set up my monitoring monitor, which is basically I give 50% screen space to OBS. So I resize OBS to take up about 50% of the screen space, and then I resize my chat to take up the remaining 50%. So that's kind of what you can see. And you can see Mike, one of my moderators, has popped in and is adding some comments. So I just kind of set up so that my second monitor basically looks like this. Then I come back over here, and you can see that the one thing that to note is that, hey, Kanducci, how's it going? The one thing that you can note is that blowing up your Twitch chat will also blow up Twitch, but it will not blow up iRacing. So iRacing is still not zoomed in. Only Twitch URLs are zoomed in. So the zoom only applies to that URL. Really important. But when you do go to Twitch, Twitch is going to be super big and zoomed in. Just something to note. I wish that there was a more specific way to work around that, and if anyone knows, let me know. But the point of that is that you do want to it's worth it to have chat zoomed in so that you can read it. That's the most important thing while you're streaming. So, lost my train of thought. Sometimes when I'm talking in the middle of flow, I lose my train of thought. So I wanted to show you this. Now, I'm going to go back over to show you the point is that I want that alert box when it's over here on the right to be legible. So basically, you know, while I'm racing, I've got chat is bumped up straight against the left edge of that monitor. So, you know, kind of right here in my field of vision. So that as chat, if that moves, my peripheral vision will detect motion and I can glance over real quick and see what the new message is. Now, and then the OBS, which is further over in my peripheral vision, is going to have these alerts slide in. So when we're just going to do a test subscription. When someone new subscribes to the channel, I hear that sound. I look over and I can see who did it, and it's big enough that I can read it. That's all that matters. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to move and resize chat over here on that second monitor. And at the end of the stream, I will do a little thing where I show again what my monitor 2 looks like. But I'm going to resize it a little bit so that I've got it set so that I can monitor Twitch. Okay. And that's basically everything that you need just to get started with basic streaming. I've got my webcam on and placed correctly. I've got Streamlabs alerts set up so that I've got notifications when someone follows my channel, when I get a subscription, when I get cheers with bits, when I get a donation, when I get raids and hosts. All of that important stuff that you want to make sure that you're thanking people in the moment when they do something positive for you. That's really important for 2 reasons. One, someone just did something nice for you. It is nice to thank them for it. The other thing is that when all of your other viewers at the time see that instant interaction, that then encourages more interaction. So someone who's on the fence about whether or not they're going to follow, if they see someone else follow your channel and they immediately get a thank you, it's like, oh, cool, this guy's nice. He's engaging and interacting with his viewers. I will follow as well because I want that positive reinforcement. It's just a really good idea. So you need to set things up for yourself so that you get the visual and auditory cues to let you know and prompt you to do the interactions. Basically the whole point of this is to set things up so that you, while you are streaming, are in a comfortable environment where you're getting prompts and cues correctly to be able to do the things that you want to do with your stream. Couple of other things that I like to have that are fun that come from Streamlabs. The tip jar is really cool, and I set this up to do everything: donations, follows, bits and cheers, subs, resubs, everything. Just set the whole thing up, drop them all in there. It's awesome, and you can pick whatever you want. I like the tumbler because it looks cool and it fits with what I'm doing for my stream. And then you've got, you know, all of these different settings that you can do for that. So, same as before, I'm copying this. I'm going to move OBS off screen for a second while I set up, just when I paste in the URL, but you're going to add another browser source. This is going to be the tip jar. Okay. And then I move this off the screen while I set the URL. Actually, first, I'm going to resize this to be, what do we want, 120. Let me see, does it give you any specifications or recommendations on size? It does not. So let's see what 120 width by 120 height looks like real quick. That looks about right. And we set it right there. I think I actually wanted 240 by 240 though. So 240, 240. Okay. There. Boom. That's where the chip jar is going to be. Now I go bring this off the screen so that I can paste in the URL that contains the sensitive information. And there we go. And it shows up right where it should. Now, one other thing is I like to actually drop it down a little bit lower so that it's right down at the bottom there. Can actually probably, well, anyway. So, kind of bump it right there. And bump it right there so that it's right next to my camera. I can even reach my hand out and almost touch it. No touchy. Okay. Anyway, so that's the tip jar. Does not matter which order in the priority that the tip jar has over the alerts. So go ahead and set it wherever you want. Tip jars in, and then the other one that's fun is the credits. Credits are going to have to fill the screen, and you're going to want this to be your top level because, actually, no, not top level. You want to add credits right above the display capture because I like to still have my webcam on over the credits. So where you put those is going to be your call. But this is going to be credits. And this is a manual trigger. So you trigger this at the end of your stream. So what we will do is we will trigger these credits at the very end of ours, but I'm adding it in now. This one is 1920 by 1080 so that it fills the screen. Boom. Nice and big. We want to drop that down below the webcam, above the display capture, and then slide it off screen. No, I didn't export my scenes and back them up off system, Psycho Boy. But the benefit of that is that I, have an excuse to do a nice little tutorial. So there's an example of Psycho Boy asked a question in chat, and because I have my chat monitor over, I was able to see that. And yeah, I probably will back it up this time. Lots of lessons learned with that. Because this is not something that you want to do more than once. As you can see, this has been going for almost an hour and we're not done. Part of that's because I'm talking. But there we go. So we've got our credits in. And we're improving a few things as we go. Credits, display capture, webcam, tip jar. So that now... Hey, Marcio, thank you for the
Smiley
cheer.
face at John_A_Theodore. Very nice tutorial.
And there's the nice bit lady Reading out the message just like we like it. Okay, so now that that's done, we have all of our stuff with Streamlabs set up. The next piece is where are we going here? Close out LastPass. Close out some of these extra things. I'm actually going to close out Twitch for a little bit because I've got the monitoring. Close this out. Close this. We'll leave the race guide up for now. Whoa!
Back it all up to the cloud. Sorry, Marcio_M gotta take that number 1 from ya.
And we have a bit war in the middle of the tutorial video. All right. Now, the next piece, and this is iRacing specific, so skip past this section of the video if you're not an iRacing streamer. But this is stuff that's specific for iRacing, which is the Q2 apps package. Q2 is an awesome streamer on iRacing and provides a really nice suite of apps. I've already downloaded these, so we're going to skip the download step. But you just click the download button right here, unzip them to a folder, put the folder on your desktop so that it's easily accessible, and then you're going to want to get them all set up. I've actually gone ahead and added the 3 that matter down to the taskbar so that they're easily accessible, but I'm going to do it this way just to show you what's in here. Now the ones that matter for me that I recommend using are the BetBot. It's just fun. It promotes user engagement. It's fun for folks to be able to bet on the results of the races that you're running while you're streaming. Hey, Caden, I have not done Pocono. I'm planning on doing Pocono maybe at the 6:45 p.m. Central time slot, so about an hour and 20 minutes from now. I'm planning on running Pocono then as a preview to lead into the league racing tonight. Hey, all right, Chase, Jack, thank you for the biddies, matey. Much appreciated. So BetBot, chat, and server's the biggie, so we'll do server at the end. Actually, I'm going to, well, BetBot's really quick, so we'll cover that. So the first time that you run BetBot, it's going to create BetBot INI. Go in here, and these are all of your configuration settings. I don't have this set. The main thing is you want to make sure that you set your Twitch channel, and then you set official only to 0, assuming that when you're doing league or hosted races or Carb Cup or Pickup Cup or any of that stuff, that you want your users to be able to bet with bits.
You're 3 and
Mike,
you another.
thank you for the biddies. You want to make sure that you're able to, if this is set to 0, it's set to 1 by default, which means that your users are only able to bet on officially ranked iRacing races. If you want them to be able to bet on all your stuff, set that to 0. Slow rich users, all that is a setting that I don't use. I set back up to 1 just in case something happens and you need to go back and check the bets. And then the start amount, start them at 1,000. That's default. Restart amount is by default at 100. I put it to 1,000 because I am very nice to my people, and I like them to be able to bet aggressively right from the start, and it just keeps the action going. I reset bets once a week, and then you can name the credits currency. So we had it called credits, but let me see. I don't know if spaces are going to work. So we'll just do like this, Chrome horns. And that's going to be the new official currency of my channel. Close it, and then you just run the application. It's going to do some stuff and spin up, and it's running. Go ahead and allow access. There you go. So BetBot should be running now. And bets have already been reset. But BetBot's running, but it's not showing up anywhere. Why is that? Oh, goodness me. Psycho Boy back to the top.
Y'all this time, lol.
Thanks, Psycho Boy. Much appreciated. Okay, so one little feature that I'm going to do with the bits, I'll go ahead and turn this back off, but if things get too out of hand with it, is in the alert box settings, Kanducci did this a while back, and I'm going to need to do that just for the sake of channel, is you can set a minimum number of bits to actually get the text readout to happen. So we'll just set that to 25. So just in case things keep cheering, it's actually going to cost you guys 25 bits to actually get the text read. I'm only doing that temporarily so that I can get through the rest of this tutorial. But I'm very appreciative of the biddies, guys. Much appreciated. Always, you know that. So back to the iRacing browser apps. Twitch BetBot. Very, very nice instructions that Q2 has set up on his site. Install and run BetBot.bxc, creates the INI file. Do that, run again. So we're at this step, set up the overlay. We are going to add, you guessed it, another browser source. Q2 did a really great job with his instructions here. So we add a browser source. This is going to be the bets. What do we call it? Just the bet table. Okay. Width and height. 210, 236. Hey, Big A on the block. How's it going? So Windows wiped out my. I'm going to bring this over so that it makes sense because I'm interacting with chat here. Windows wiped out. Did the latest update wiped out my computer? I had to do a full hard drive reformat. So I'm resetting up my stream and doing a stream tutorial as I do it. So if you're looking for racing, there's some other folks doing racing. I will be doing some racing later on tonight, but right now I'm getting things set up so that I can do all that as normal and doing a tutorial video while I do it. So I'm going to put this back over here where I keep it monitoring, and that's all going to make a lot more sense on the video in just a second because part of the Q2 app suite is a chat monitor. So I've got my source set up here, width and height the way that Q2 says on his site, and the browser source URL is right here. Not Windows key. Copy, paste, and there we go. There's my bet table. Put that, where do we think? We've got standings and stuff. So the bet table, that's going to be chat. Bet table should probably go right there. And then we need to add another browser source for the bet leaderboard. Do you guys remember, did I have it where the table was above the leaderboard or below the leaderboard? I honestly can't remember. But this is with 200, height of 282, and the URL here. So this is going to be empty for right now. But that's the bet leaderboard. And so we'll set that there. Bet table, bet leaderboard. I'm actually going to move the bet table up so that when I reposition the leaderboard, there we go. Okay, cool. That's one of the cool things is that Twitch will, OBS will automatically snap stuff. Yeah, so the next is going to be the chat overlay, and and as Psycho Boy just suggested, if you want it snapped to chat, put it on top since it's always there. The relative, so I'm going to have it snapped up to the chat because the relative is part of the server package and doesn't display as its own box. So the next one is going to be the chat. So again, that's in the Q2 settings. But if you've done what I recommended, which is drag all of these down to your taskbar here, you can just close this out and boom, up comes the chat. Drag that off screen or minimize it. I tend to just have these all minimized while I'm running things, and then I close them out at the end of the stream. So go to the settings page. This is going to be another John. Yep. Okay. So it creates a URL for you that we then add another browser source. This is going to be chat. Create that. The size, what are the size that it recommends? Okay. Set width and height as desired. Okay. So that's good to know. All right, so I'm going to set it to, I think I did 400 by 300. And then I'm going to drag this off screen. Okay, boom. We're going to bump the chat right up over here in the top right. The bet table, snap that to the chat. Bet leaderboard, snap that to the bet table. And we're good to go. And actually, I remember now. Bet leaderboard was over here. Boom. And that was there. And that's how we had it. Okay. That leaves enough room in this space for relative and my black box relative. Cool. So, going back to Q2's setup here. Now is the big one. The stream overlay for first-person streamers. This is server.exe. It's the big kahuna. Pull that up. Windows likes to block things, understandably. Allow access. And here we go. It's running. Okay, so now we can test this chat, by the way. So now that chat's going, I type something in, and it shows up right here. Really, really, really nice, helpful little application. Very appreciative to Q2 for making this stuff and making it all free. So, once again, we're going to go to the settings page. And let's see, I want fuel, I want temps, I want wind, I want relatives. I do not want the compact mode though. I like the relatives to be the full mode. Max ROS 20, window 5. I didn't. Oh, this I actually bumped up to 40. Or the maximum. I think I set it to 36. Window. Number of rows in the standing table. Okay. So, multi-class, show standings multi-class. Yes, I want that. Actually, I'm just going to go to only show my class in multi-class races. That's what's most relevant to folks. Yeah. In that case, I'm going to turn that section off. So, show fuel, show oil and water temps, wind, and stuff like that. This isn't really going to be useful for me, but my chat sees it, and they'll tell me information. So, helpful in that way. Max rows, I actually go to 37. That means that in a max field size NIS fixed race, I can get everyone in the standings on screen. Now I'm going to slide this off screen for a second while I enter the channel and grab the URL. Oh, that's actually not super sensitive stuff. It just adds it at the end. But here we go. So we're going to add another browser source. This is Q2 server. I'll do an underscore there. Okay. And do that. This should be by 1080. It should fill the screen. Okay. And I like to have that as top level. I'm sorry, not top level. So I like to have all the Q2 stuff layered underneath cheers and follow alerts and things like that. So Streamlabs alerts, that's going to go to the absolute top order. Tip jar goes right under those. And then we have Q2 server, chat, bet table, bet leaderboard. Credits is going to be, let's see, let's put the webcam up above that because I don't want the standings coming down over my face. Credits then go next underneath the webcam. And then we've got the Q2 server. Now, for Q2 server, I'm going to go back and there is some custom CSS that I like to put in here. It took me a little bit of guesswork to get this exactly right, but let's see. So if I want to bump this right underneath the bet leaderboard, so I've got chat. Chat was, I think, 300 tall. Let me just be quick about this and make sure. Yeah, chat's a height of 300. So let's just punch that in, 300. Cool. And then the bet leaderboard is 282. 300 plus 282 equals 582. Okay, so I've got 582 px of height that has been used up. So 1080 minus 582, 1080 is my height, is going to be, oh boy, 998 minus 500, so I think that's 498. Yeah, it would be, so if let's do this much simpler. Windows, you have a calculator. 1080 minus 582 equals 498. Cool. That's what we need. 498 pixels, or it's going to be 582 or 498 up to define the top of where I want my relatives to be. So if I go into the Q2 server, I'm going to do some custom CSS here. So dot relatives, I want to do let's see, dot relatives top 582 px. Twitch counters. I didn't mess with that usually, but that I might want to. Twitch viewers and followers count, bottom left corner with a 12px gap. Relatives, background, that's another one. If you want it to be half transparent, you do this right here, which is actually kind of useful. So there we go. And close that bracket. That's the only changes that I'm going to make for right now. But I might, let's see, oh, and standings. Stick that to the top of the screen. Yes, we want to do that. Okay. So now, when I go into the game, that should all be up and running properly. So to wrap things up here, we are going to move OBS off the screen and over here to my monitoring monitor. And I'm just going to take a moment to get that resized the way that I want. Once you have OBS sized correctly, you're not going to need to move it around. Because when you open it up, it's going to automatically go to the size that you set it at, and then you'll just need to resize your chat monitor to fit next to OBS. We are done with that. We are done with Streamlabs, although what I always do is I have Streamlabs and I have MooBot. That's another one that I should probably cover. So twitch.tv/MooBot. Actually, let's do the better way, which is MooBot's super cool because MooBot handles alerts and some automatic messaging and stuff. So MooBot, twitch.moobot.tv. Click that. Click connect with Twitch, and it automatically does it. And then you've got all this cool stuff. Put that. So my chat monitor, that window that I have resized for my chat also has a tab for Streamlabs and a tab for MooBot. Again, that's how I have it set up. I'm not saying that that's gospel. Set things up in a way that makes sense and works for you, and then so that you can just fire and forget. When I start up my computer, I start up Q2, I start up the Q2 apps, I pull up a browser and go to the bookmarked chat thing, the chat URL. I open up new tabs for Streamlabs and MooBot, activate those, open up Streamlabs, and open up the iRacing member site. And then I am ready. It takes like 30 seconds from once my computer finishes booting up to when I'm able to go ahead and hit the start streaming button and be right into the flow. And that's really what you want. It is so important if you want to be able to stream regularly, for you to have things set up in such a way that it's going to make it really easy for you to do it, so that you're not sitting there and being like, do I want to stream or do I not want to stream? You want it to be easy for you to stream if you want to, so that the only thing is, do I want to stream, not do I want to go through 15 steps to get things prepared so that I can stream. Now, one other thing that I'm noticing that I'm going to go back to the Q2 site is you can see if you look way up that way, where am I pointing? Doot, doot. That way, sort of. There. And if I go down, pointing on camera is tough. It's very complex. But if you look way over there, top rightish, that way, kind of, you can see that I've got my viewer and follower count. It's not where I want it. So I'm going to go back to Q2 apps. The stream overlay tool that he made for single monitor streamers like me. And grab this, copy it, paste that into my Q2 server, custom CSS, which is here. Again, just double click the browser source, go into custom CSS, paste that in, click OK. And now it moved them, but it moved them to below my webcam. So because of that, we need to bring Q2 server up above the webcam. And now my followers and my viewers display right down, overlaid on the webcam, right where I like them. So we have done all of this. Would not let you guys go without a little bit at the end that's going to show off everything working, and we want to make sure that our Q2 apps are working correctly. So we're going to go to the iRacing National Series, which this week is at Pocono. We're going to pop into a practice session so that the standings will pull up, and we'll see that that's working, and we'll also get to see that the relatives are working. Put my keyboard and my mouse aside for right now. I'm going to set my cell phone down in its usual spot. I'm going to grab my gloves, which is one of my signature things. Never hesitate, by the way, to have fun when you're streaming. I got these gloves on Amazon because they're fun. They look cool. I like Dale Jr. a lot. I'm a Dale Jr. fan. He always wore the skeleton gloves when he was racing. I thought that was cool. So I got ones that are blue and white, my favorite colors. Why? Well, yeah, they help protect the Alcantara on my really nice, expensive, fancy Fanatec rim. The real reason that I got them is because they're fun. It makes me smile every time I put them on. My viewers like them. They're fun. That's the whole point of this stuff, is to have fun. So we're going to go have a little fun at Pocono. Drop into the game. if my game capture source is set up correctly, then it's going to work. And it is. Boom. So we've got the iRacing is loading in. You can see because of where we've positioned it, my webcam, my tip jar, everything is still overlaid on the top. Remember, the game source is kind of the bottom of the stack, right above the display capture. So the other thing, the way that I can test and make sure that this is working correctly is if I turn off the display capture, which I just did. Now I only have iRacing, and that's what's visible. The only reason I use the display capture is because I like to pull in standings and stuff like that. I'll probably put like a background in there and then only use the display capture when I'm displaying standings, and I should probably set up a hotkey or something like that. Anyway, game's up, and again, the reason that we're doing this, we're just going to do like a lap, but we want to see that the all of our important stuff, so that the relatives, yeah, it really is a nice way to save the Alcantara on the rim, because I do get sweaty palms. But if I'm being honest, I'm from Missouri, Fuel Monkey. So Marcio's right, it does save the Alcantara on the rim. But if I'm being honest, the real reason I got the gloves is because they're fun and they make me smile. And they look cool. So, we're going to hop into practice, and we can see that the standings are set up over on the left side. So right up above where I am right here, like I like. Ooh. Check this out. So this is cool. It's Alt K. There we go. So all of these little in-game black boxes in iRacing, you can drag them around. So I'm going to put the all-time best lap right here, next to my timing, so that we can see. That might be problematic if it's positioned there. Let's think about this for a second. Where would be a good spot to put this on the camera? I like having my FPS up there. That's more important for me than it is for you guys. This one, I know that that's important to have, so we put that up there. And actually having that there is fine. Add all teams, that's not super important. We'll put that here. That just, actually, that's kind of important so that I remember which channel I'm talking to. So if we have those stacked up there, that looks good. And then we've got our black boxes. So Marky D, thanks for the host. Very much appreciated. So we're going to Alt-K out of there. Oh, man, I need to set up my... Jaren, what's going on, man? Is that your Psycho P cart? Nice. So, these are the black boxes in iRacing. Now, I did a tutorial a while back where you couldn't see the black boxes because the Q2 black box was covering them up, and I promised you that we would reshoot that tutorial on how to set up your hotkeys. So we're going to do that in just a second. But for right now, I'm going to go to F3, which is the relative. I always recommend having that up. We've got the relative standings up as well. So you can see my black box, and you can see the Q2 relative is always there. So even if I go in and, you know, I want to change stuff for fuel, you guys can still see that. We're rolling out. We're going to run one lap. Want to test that my audio is good. And honestly, like, I'm going to need your guys' help on this. How does the game audio sound in comparison to my voice right now? Is the engine sound too loud in relation to my voice? Is it too quiet, or is it just about right? I'm going to drop it down a little bit, actually, because it was a little too loud for me there. Game is too quiet. Okay.
Car outside. Clear.
Yeah, I'm getting very quiet to just a touch quiet. Could have it. Honestly, like, if it's nice and loud, it does some really cool stuff. So it's just a touch quiet. So we are going to, again, in the Q2 settings, that desktop audio, if you remember that from earlier, we'll bump that up a hair. Let's see, let's put it to minus 20 dB, which is right about half of the adjustment. The mic's at minus 10 dB, so the game's going to be at minus 20. We're going to reset the car. And we're going to go again. There we go. So yeah, again, it helps the Twitch helps you out. So having the game staying right in the green is a really good way to do it. Man, this Pocono's been fun. Hey, Marky D, thanks for the raid, man. Much appreciated. How you doing? This actually brings up a really good point. So Marky D, to my knowledge, is not a huge iRacing fan, but he comes to us because one of the things that I can probably do, networking's a big part of having a successful Twitch stream. So I know you guys have talked about, and I've given props to Hey Shady Lady for her Twitch tutorial, which really drove home the importance of talking to yourself on stream. I met Marky D through Hey Shady Lady's channel by popping in on her stream and basically, you know, hanging out with her, interacting with chat, being a good member of her community. And so that has then brought Marky over here with the raid. So unless I've got that wrong, Marky, if you want to correct any of that. But as I understand it, that's how that relationship was formed. And building relationships is a huge part of what Twitch is about. So we're going to set a really, really bad lap time here. I don't even know if this is going to set a lap time because this is just an out lap and we hit the wall. But there we go. That's going to put us 16th on the board, and we're just going to pull over and stop. Now, the last thing that I do want to emphasize, because this is important for not just for streaming, but this is an important piece for iRacing in general. Have your hotkeys on your wheel set up correctly. I've got button for look left on the wheel, a button for look right on the wheel. Yeah, Marky D's totally right. Visiting and rating other channels and building those relationships is big. I do recommend previewing channels before you raid them to make sure that it is a channel that you're comfortable sending your viewers to. Yeah. So, Marky, those emotes, are those ones that you've done because you subscribe to them, or are those ones that you did the art for? It's a pretty extensive list. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So you get emotes gifted to you because you raid a lot, and you drop all the emotes in with your raid. You have Twitch people who gift you a subscription to their channel so that their emote gets included in the stack. That's really smart. I like that. So Marky clearly has a lot more experience with Twitch than I am, and we're getting some pro tips. So here we go. Setting up your hotkeys, and this is going to be the last piece of the tutorial. go to the, it's in options, controls, and what I really recommend doing, I'm just going to go through a couple. So next black box, I'm going to assign to a button on the wheel. Previous black box, I'm going to assign to a button on the wheel. And I'm going to bring the camera around so you can see when I do this right here. So this is the button that I made for next black box, is the B button. Pull back a little bit so you can see where that's positioned on the wheel. And the previous black box is the X button. Then over here on the hat switch is going to be where I set select next control was down arrow. So I'm going to make that down on the hat switch. Select previous control is up arrow, so I'm going to make that up on the hat switch. Increment is right, so I select right on the hat switch. Decrement is left, so I select left on the hat switch. And then toggle selected control is space. I'm going to map that to A. Really important that you make it so that you can navigate and adjust those black boxes in the middle of the race. The last thing you want is to be coming down pit road and you want to make a quick strategy change. You know that it's a situation where it's like, I need fuel, but I don't want tires or something like that. The last thing you want is to be like, scrambling with the keyboard and taking your hand off the wheel. Now keep your hands on the wheel and just manipulate it. And then the other thing that I do is over in the options tab, you can set all of these messages as custom messages. So I set 0 as wow, you raid 10 plus streamers a day, sometimes 20. That's amazing. Yeah, you you stream all the time. See, I've got a full-time job, so I only stream like 3 to 4 hours a day at most. So this one is live on twitch.tv/John A. Theodore. And then this will be my YouTube announcement. Archive at youtube.com/John Theodore. Kanducci pointed out that I don't need the let's see. I can't get that, let's see. You came to see me racing and I'm doing a Twitch video. How about that? Yeah, so that's really good tips from Marky, by the way, which you can see up in the chat box. On rating people, getting chat like. So my I'm going to talk a little bit about rating because I have a philosophy on how I do it, which is sometimes it's strategic and sometimes it isn't. So if I'm doing a strategic raid, I will tend to target a channel that is similar in size to mine, because what I want to do, raids are one of the more valuable currency types on Twitch, and when I do a raid, you don't want to waste that. So if I'm raiding with like 20 viewers on a channel that has 1,000 or 10,000, that's likely to be a wasted raid because it's not going to be a significant boost to that streamer's viewership, in my opinion. I could be wrong on that, and Marky might be able to correct on that. But what I like to do is, if I'm averaging 50 or 60 viewers, so I'm bringing like a 20 or 30 viewer raid to someone else, I will tend to raid someone else where, it's going to be super impactful to them. So 20 or 30 viewers to them, or, where it basically it's going to boost their viewership by 25 to 50% or double their viewership is a really good size. Or I might target a smaller stream as a thank you. So, I think I saw Jaren in here, for example, and Psycho Boy as well. I will specifically raid their channel as a thank you for their loyal viewership that they've done to me. So, generally speaking, in order of preference, I will raid one of my regular viewers first and foremost. Then, if I don't have one of my regular viewers online, I will raid another iRacing streamer, because I want to take my viewers someplace doing something that they're doing. And I try to preference towards streamers that I feel like do a really, respectful stream, who aren't going to insult or offend any of my viewers immediately when they drop in. That's sort of how I pick that. And then I'll also go to, Hey Shady's ladies channel. I've rated a couple times, even though it's not iRacing related, but as a thank you to her awesome video for giving me advice. And I will always raid Kinduchi's channel, because we've kind of developed a good partnership and we're kind of trying to do that. So, Marky, my primary reason for streaming is as fun as a hobby. But because I'm also, somewhat competitive and I come from role-playing games, I like watching the numbers go bigger. So I would love to get to partner at some point. So that's kind of how I've set my priorities in terms of how I do the raids. And that's sort of my thought process that goes into that. Now, I'm going to swing back around here, because we were going to do a tutorial on the buttons as well. So, again, now you can actually see the relative box on there. So if I hit next box and previous box, I can cycle my black boxes in-game really easily. If I want to toggle tires on and off, I can, with the hat switch, I can switch between
Move it.
next and previous option. I can bump up. Let me go to one where I can actually adjust it. So that's fuel. So I can bump up how much fuel I'm adding, or drop how much fuel I'm adding. And I can also
clear.
press
Contact.
the A button here to toggle fuel on and off,
Move it.
or toggle tires on and off. I can
it,
do a
go.
windshield tear off, all that
All
stuff.
clear. Punch it.
So Marky's going to give us Raid 101. I'm going to see how close to the mark I was, because I am curious what his. Raids for large numbers are great for people who need Path of Affiliate, and for those people, raids numbers count. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to do a lap while Marky is typing this out. I want to get a clean lap in. So again, I was talking about those, and I want to kind of show in action a little bit what I mean with that. So, I've got relative. I want to take a look at the standings. I see Ludke's got a 55:21 top time. There's my lap timing, so I'm going to go put it back on F3. Steel Horse, K&N is at Pocono this week. They're at Old Pocono.
Clear outside.
Okay, so the partnership is like a job interview. When you get your numbers done, you don't get it right away. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. Whew. It's bumpy. Drop it into third gear. Dig off that corner.
Car stopped ahead.
Check out your stream content, diversity, how much I stream. Okay. Spike, you said NASCAR might be back soon. What do you mean by that? Ease it into turn 3. Pick it up. We're going to get across the line here.
Car outside. Stay low. Clear outside.
Wasn't really clear there. I kind of cleared myself. Yeah, Steel Horse, it's set to creative because I was doing a tutorial, which I'm just wrapping up.
Inside. Clear inside.
Okay. Whew. So raids do not count for partnership. What do you mean by that? Do they anyway, so I'm going to quit out of here. Yeah, 1.7 seconds to cut off of that lap. That's true. So everything's set up. Was kind of the point of that. And now I can bring back my display capture. I want to have that on. And let's see. Yeah, Steel Horse, I hear you. I'd like to get partnership just because I would like to have the additional emote slots to make use of. And it's not so much about the 50-50 split, but I would like to get the ad revenue. It's more about just hitting the goal, though. Oh, I see what you're saying. If you hit the average viewership numbers just because of a monster raid, Twitch is going to look at that and see, okay, they're not really averaging 75 viewers per stream. They got one monster raid that threw off their stats. That makes sense. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it, and that's sort of what my rating strategy is based on. It's geared towards trying to attract new viewers who will come to the channel and check it out over time. So, yeah. But that makes sense. You know, and that makes me feel good, actually, because, you know, I'm like, my viewership has kind of been inching up there. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Steel Horse. Actually, you might. So here's been my whole thinking about this in you know the sort of like, you know, pie in the sky stuff of, you know, maybe this becoming a legitimate source of income or a serious source of income at some point, is Twitch is only growing. And it's sort of a rising tides lifts all boats. You and I are sort of in the same camp of we're in, not necessarily on the ground floor, but we're in at an early stage where Twitch is going to continue to balloon and grow over time. Oh, okay. So high number of streamers hate raids. Oh, they ban people for raiding. That's good to know too. Okay. Yeah, so Twitch kind of has a cornerstone on a market that seems to be very big with the younger generation and basically the audience that's growing. People, particularly younger people, seem to really want to interact with content, so or interact with their content rather than just passively watch it. Um, so where that comes in is that you're averaging 50 or 60 viewers right now, and you're in not a great time slot for it generally. But as the Twitch audience as a whole continues to grow, where you are right now, you're generally positioned as the top streamer or the top oval streamer on iRacing at the time slot you stream at. And that position has a ton of value as Twitch, the size of the total Twitch audience continues to grow. Your channel audience will go with it. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not retiring in 5 years, but I would, like 20 or 30 years down the road, if this, if I keep this going for 20 or 30 years from the size that I am now to what it may be then, it's not out of the realm of possibility that it might become a significant one. Good old Emery. She's awesome, though. But you still got the top oval stream at that time. So that was relatively long-winded, maybe not the most tight tutorial that has ever been shot or recorded, but I think that I hit a lot of the highlights and a lot of the points that I wanted to. So, and I made use of the time getting my overlays and everything set back up. So I'm now fully recovered. I'm going to go to, so this is why I like to have the display capture on primarily, is that I like to be able to pull up the results and stuff. And it's really easy to do that. Yeah, I'm with you. It's blown me away how I've streamed for 4 months to like 2 or 3 viewers until Hey Shady Ladies video really drove home the importance of talking on stream. I knew that it was important to interact with your audience, but I'm like, well, but how do I get an audience? I have no one to interact with. I'm perfectly happy to interact with an audience. I just didn't have anyone to interact with. So it's a matter of that's the first real hump, is building an audience to the point where you have an audience to interact with. It becomes really easy to talk if you're paying attention to chat and there's activity in chat. But finding, getting confidence and getting comfortable with just kind of talking to yourself to what feels like an empty room, and just kind of letting your inner monologue go was a big part of what I struggled with at first. But it's super important in terms of building that audience. Hey, Pink Eye Jones, what's up? So I am actually going to cut the stream here. Yeah, Hey Shady Ladies video is awesome, and I would recommend that to everyone. Having a schedule is important, and I do stream regularly, which helps. Thank you for that, Mr. Gearing. Much appreciated. But I am actually going to cut this stream now, and as promised, I am going to cap it off with rolling the credits so that you guys can see what that looks like. That's something fairly new that Streamlabs has added that I really like. And we're going to call it, and then I'm going to throw a raid to someone else who is live, and then I will be back on later tonight. I've got a league race going on. And I might actually do that Pocono race like I was talking about. But I got to feed the dog and spend a little time with him first. So we'll see. This actually went a little bit longer than I planned on it going. So here we go. We're going to roll credits. And what I always like to do when the credits are rolling, wow. That's why I always have my bottle of water. Just got something stuck in my throat. Excuse me. So, I like to read the credits and thank everyone as it goes by. So, thanks again to Mike Strange, RHS Jack, and Psycho Boy, and 15, and Marcio M for the cheers, the biddies. Thank you to my moderators. And I always say is like the moderators, it doesn't always get them all. And then there will also be a section in the credits for new followers and subs during the stream. And what I will do also is, while the credits roll, is go to Twitch and find someone to raid. So, you know what? Actually, even though he's not playing iRacing, I have never had the opportunity to throw Air Messi a raid, and I've been a fan of his for a while. I like his streams, so we're gonna raid Air Messi. So there we go. Punch the raid command in. I'll be back on a little bit later, but thank you guys. I know that this was a little bit different. It's a creative stream rather than an iRacing stream. But thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoy the video. Hope that tutorial is useful for you, for anyone who's interested in getting involved in streaming and stuff like that. Thank you so much. Go say hey to Air Messi for me. Peace out.